Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's discussion is going to be on relaxer stretching, so stay tuned. All right guys, so I'm sure if you're in the relaxer community, you would have heard about the concept of relaxer stretching, and that basically speaks to extending the interval between your relaxers beyond 6 to 8 weeks. Some people say 8 to 10 weeks, but that really doesn't matter. The actual concept and the practice is what relaxer stretching really is about. And why relaxer stretching became a thing is that persons used to relax the entire length of their hair with each touch up. So you may know that the only time that the entire length of your hair should be relaxed is when you are getting a virgin relaxer, when you're relaxing your hair for the very first time. After that, only the new growth should be relaxed, right? The previously relaxed hair must be avoided. Now, in the past, people didn't really know this and people didn't really practice this. I'm not sure if it's that they didn't know or if they knew better but still practiced the act of relaxing the entire length of hair. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. But that is why relaxers really got a horrible name back then. Because each time you run the relaxer along previously relaxed hair or which is previously processed hair, you're breaking more and more bonds. Because you may know already that what a relaxer does is break the bonds that holds the hair structure in place, and that is why your hair goes from curly to straight, because some of the bonds that would have held it in that curly state are broken, and then it allows your hair to straighten. So if your hair is already straight and you keep on applying that relaxer over and over again, you keep on breaking bonds until there are no more bonds. And what the bonds are supposed to do is to hold the structure of the hair together. So if you end up disrupting all the bonds that exist in your hair, what's going to happen? Your hair is going to break, your hair is going to fall out. So that is why the whole concept of relaxer stretching came about. What relaxer stretching speaks about really is extending the interval between your relaxers as far apart as possible to allow as much new growth as possible to be present, so that when you go to get your hair relaxed, the relaxer is only going to touch your new growth and not previously relaxed hair. And that is what relaxer stretching really is, right? It is suggested that you should have at least 1 to 2 inches of new growth before you go and get a touch-up. Because if you have less than, ideally it should be 2. If you have less than 1 inch for sure, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to prevent that relaxer from touching your relaxed hair, the previously relaxed hair, that is. So you're going to be trying your hardest to keep the relaxer on the new growth, but it's going to be very difficult to prevent it from touching that previously relaxed hair. And the truth is that in most cases, even if you do have 2 inches of new growth, 6 inches of new growth, you do have cases where the relaxer still goes ahead and touches the previously relaxed hair. So there really is no perfect scenario. But what you want to do is to limit that as much as possible. And you also want to ensure that you coat your hair strands, whatever greases or whatever you usually use, to help to protect it from the relaxer, even if it does touch the previously relaxed hair. That is why stretching came about. Because on average, most persons, not all persons, but most persons grow about 0.5 inches of new growth per month. And then within about 4 months, you may have 2 inches. Once again, that is average. That's the average amount of growth per month, right? You do, however, have persons at opposite ends of the spectrum. So in the middle, you have the average of about 0.5 inches per month, but you may have some persons whose hair grow a lot slower and some whose hair grow a lot faster, right? So you do have somebody who may actually grow 1 inch per month, and you may have somebody who grow half an inch per month. And that is why it is important for you to know your hair. Some persons stretch their relaxer to attain that 2 inches of new growth. So once again, the aim of stretching is to have enough new growth before you go to get a touch-up, to prevent over processing of the previously relaxed hair or overlapping of the previously relaxed hair, and therefore to prevent thinning and a breakage of the hair, because as you over process and reprocess that relaxed hair, then you run the risk of causing your hair to become damaged. I'm here to say this: it is very important that if you do decide that relaxer stretching is for you, it is important that you stretch with caution. And that is because, as based on the texture of your hair, so some of us may have like coarse hair or very coarse hair or very thick hair. um Based on the texture of your hair, the longer you stretch your relaxer, it might become even more difficult to manage the new growth, and the interval between your new growth and your previously relaxed hair becomes a very fragile and can be broken easily. That line of demarcation right there between your new growth and previously relaxed hair is a very weak line. So if you are not adequately softening your new growth, right, stretch with caution, soften your new growth properly, find the right products. I personally started to use the Lotta Body 5-in-1 leave-in conditioner or leave-in treatment to soften my new growth, and it has been working beautifully. There are other products out there persons have been using S-Curl. I've never tried it personally, but I've heard by some that it does work well. But it's important that if you're going to stretch your relaxer, you find the right products to soften that new growth, so that when you try to comb through your hair, that interface between the new growth and the relaxed hair is not so drastically different, right? And therefore the risk of breakage is far less. It is also important that if you realize that despite all your attempts to soften your new growth, and each time you comb through your hair you see little broken strands on the ground, sometimes you don't even realize that your hair is breaking. Sometimes you don't even realize that your hair is breaking. It's when you look on the ground, when you look on the furniture, when you look on the bed, you see all kind of broken pieces. You don't have to hear the breaking taking place, you don't have to feel the breaking taking place, but when you look around the room, you actually see that there's all sorts of breaking pieces and broken pieces all over the place. So if you stretch too wide and far without properly protecting that new growth, each time you comb through your hair, you run the risk of breaking your hair either at the line of demarcation or along the hair strand itself, right? And what may happen at the end of the day is that when you do get to go to get a relaxer eventually, you find that you have developed a lot of split ends, that your hair may look thinner than it did before, and that is because it was breaking during the time of the stretch. And you may end up having to trim or cut a significant amount of your hair, and therefore you fail to retain length. So in my last video entitled "My Hair Won't Grow," I spoke about many different reasons as to why our hair may be breaking, and that is why we may believe that our hair is not growing when it is in fact growing. But the problem is that we may not be retaining length, and this is another reason for failing to retain length. If we stretch our relaxer but don't do so with caution, meaning to make sure our new growth is properly managed and taken care of, and so forth and so on, when you do go and get that relaxer touch up, you're going to find that you're going to have to trim and cut off a lot of hair because of the split ends and the broken hairs that may have developed over time. And that results in failure to retain length, and then we feel as if our hair isn't growing because each time we relax our hair, it comes back at the same length. So it is very important that you know what your sweet spot is. You know when you have attained those 2 inches, you know if you are capable of stretching beyond a certain time based on the texture of your hair, based on the rate of growth, based on the products that you may have available to you. You have to be able to assess your own personal scenario to determine whether or not stretching is for you. And for many persons who stretch, their hair flourishes beautifully. I personally haven't yet practiced relaxed stretching. I currently relax my hair roughly every 6 to 8 weeks, but due to the current era of not really wanting to go out that much because I don't self-relax and also wanting to save money, I'm going to try to extend that to at least 10 weeks, right? And once again, my Lots of Body 5-in-1 leave-in, I think it's going to help me to get to that point, because it really does a great number on my new growth. So it is very important that you know what your hair can manage and what you can handle. If you find that you and your hair are constantly going through a tug and war, like you want to stretch your relaxer, but the hair is breaking, but you want to stretch your relaxer, it's the best to end the stretch. It is best to end the stretch once you have achieved that 1 to 2 inches of new growth. So I just wanted to come on and just talk real quickly about relaxer stretching. Remember, guys, if you have been learning from these videos, if you have been enjoying these videos, share. Sharing is caring. So share the video, like the video, and subscribe to this channel for more hair and health related content. We'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.